I just posted it
Hi,
to my.
everyone. I am so excited to be hosting this very first night or day, depending on where you are. This is the very first Biophilia Records festival. Originally, this was going to occur at the Jazz Gallery, which we're very appreciative for, but we're doing it online now. Just we want to keep everybody safe. We want to do the right thing. Um, I would just like to introduce you to what you just watched. You first saw the trailer for Alive in the Wilderness. That's Endless Field. Uh, After that, you got to see two premieres. The first one, uh, well, the second one was A Prayer for the Earth, the one that you just saw, and then Life on Earth was the first one. I have known Jesse Sturm, the bassist, and not Jesse Sturm, Ike Sturm, the bassist, and Jesse Lewis for a very long time, and they are two of the most wonderful people I know. Their heart, they just have so much compassion and empathy. I have been working very hard, getting very little sleep for the last week or so, which is why I'm stuttering so much. I've crammed the most amount of knowledge in my head in the shortest amount of time that I ever have in my life. And it is a great pleasure for me now to introduce you to Jesse Lewis and Ike Sturm and friends. Guys, you're live.
Thanks, Fabian.
How's it
Great to
going?
be here.
Yeah. Hello, everybody
Uh,
out there in the
Sorry,
world.
you're not
We
quite
love you.
live. Um, I will get this working in 1 second, everyone. Uh, Please excuse this. I'm really learning as I go. There we go. Okay, now you guys are on.
Hey, everybody. How are you doing? Good to
So,
have you all with us.
so the
How's it
first
going?
question that I have for you guys, I'll let you all introduce yourselves, but Jesse and Ike, when did this idea come about, and how did it come about, and how long did it take before the idea popped in your head and you actually executed it?
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was probably something I think that we had been thinking about for, almost probably since we met, going back almost 10 years. We would be just going on hikes and doing fun stuff out in nature. And then, that started informing, what we, maybe some directions we wanted to take with the music, because we were so inspired by being outdoors and being able to experience nature, and thinking about what would it be like to, play music outside together. And I think it was yeah, it was a real process getting to this point. Um, you know, yeah, Ike, what would you yeah
Yeah,
yeah
I mean, we've had some different chapters here, and I think this one has been about, I would say about 3 year course where Jesse and I started kind of dreaming about this. And of course, this dream was connected to the previous one, which was sort of just putting our toe into the water, literally, of like finding these outdoor locations and filming some, and trying to experiment with um, composing or playing outside. And when we started to think about what would it take to really do it right and go out and play, we changed, even the music changed, our instruments changed. We were seeking out ways to use the solar battery, and we were lucky enough to find all these amazing folks that we have with us today that really made it happen. We dreamed a lot with them and experimented a lot with them in advance to see how these rigs would work. And so it'll be fun to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I remember I was on my way to LA back when we traveled, and you guys sent me the first images and the first videos of this, and I was just completely blown away. I was jealous because originally I was going to go out with you guys to Utah. You guys were out in the wilderness in Utah, and I wasn't able to go, but you fulfilled one of my lifelong dreams. So yeah, I would just like now for, and I should also mention this for the audiences at home. We are live streaming, so please keep in mind that the audio quality and the visual quality of this is astonishingly better once you see the video at a higher resolution. We have to kind of keep it down because I'm frankly learning how to adapt to the new paradigm that we find ourselves in. But I'm very excited to talk to the people behind those images and capturing those sounds. So Ike and Jesse, please introduce us to these amazing artists in their own right.
Yeah, well, I guess we can go in order of there's two different parts of this. We really had to, once we had our music uh, in our minds, we needed to capture audio and video to make this whole thing sort of come alive. And the first part of that process was connected to our both of elements of those were part of our last project and our collaboration. So it's been one of the coolest things I think about this project is that it was rooted in what we did before, but it's grown and gotten legs and gone to a different place. The team has grown, but it's also still connected to where we started. And so for our first album, we were lucky to have our friend Christopher Georgia. We met him as a part of that, and this is Christopher you see there, and he's an incredible astrophotographer and directed the videography. And
And I'm gonna show some of those images now. Hopefully
oh,
that
great.
works.
I was asked to do an astrophotography photo shoot with you guys to create your album cover. And essentially, you know, watching weather and being able to work with weather and everything kind of aligning. Um, Sometimes we have to just kind of be able to go at the very last second on a very short notice. So, these guys had never met me before, only spoken on the phone, and I asked them to meet me 9 hours away in Acadia National Park in the dark at the end of a pier, so we could go out and take photographs all night under the stars. And by just by luck, we ended up getting an incredibly clear night, and we're able to shoot all the way through until almost sunrise, and just get some amazing photos of these guys for their first album. And we also kind of continued some of that astrophotography when we were out in Utah and captured a lot of amazing scenes with them standing in front of the Milky Way galaxy with their instruments at side, and just got some stunning imagery out of that. It was really, really good time, and I was glad we were able to continue that on from the first time we met, and we're still working on capturing images like that.
And now I'd like to show the audience some of those images, just so that you know our voices will be cut out while you're watching the images, but we'll be right back. Here. Cool. So, didn't mean to interrupt. I was very impressed when I saw these images as well. I'm a very amateur photographer. I've always loved wildlife photography. So yeah, when I saw these images, I was blown away, and I'm so glad that such like-minded artists were able to come together. Jesse, please introduce us to everyone else.
Yeah. Well, I guess let me start with one of my oldest friends. Actually, a person I've known longer than anybody here, even than Ike, and that's Dana Nielsen. And Dana is out in Los Angeles, and he's one of my best friends in the world. We actually went to college together in New Orleans. We both showed up as freshmen, and we just became fast friends. And Dana is an amazing musician and saxophonist, and I knew him as a sax player. And I remember, I don't know, this must have been 20 years ago. He said, "I'm moving out to LA, and I'm going to try and get into recording." And I was like, "Wow, okay." It was I didn't know he was even really into that. And since then he's become one of the most in demand, and he's just super talented recording engineers, and so we were just so lucky to be able to work with him on this project. And I'll let Dana talk a little bit about it, but Dana and Philip, of course, in addition to Christopher and Brandon, they put so much work and thought into this project. I was just absolutely blown away. When I called Dana maybe a year or two before we did this, and just put it out there like, "Hey, is this something we could do? Would you be into it?" And he was just like, "Yeah, totally." I don't know if we can do it, but he got right to trying to figure it out. And the thing that was so amazing to me, that blew me away, is Dana actually, out in Los Angeles, got some friends together, an acoustic guitarist and an acoustic bass player, and they made a percussion rig. And Dana and Philip, spent days with the solar powered battery, putting together a mobile recording rig, testing everything out to see if it was possible and what the audio quality could be. And yeah, it's insane what they did. I mean, they made they recorded an album that sounds like better than studio quality somehow in the middle of the desert.
Yeah,
and
the audio quality is unbelievable. I've never heard anything like it, and I keep saying that to everyone. I should say, blown away.
That's so cool.
And yeah, go ahead, Dana.
Well, yeah, I gotta echo all of your sentiments. Professionally, musically, personally, always a treat working with you, Jesse, and with you and Ike on these past two Endless Field projects, both of which have been so fun. And so excited when Philip, my also long time dear friend, was on board, and that just made it like even more fun, because Philip and I have worked on many records together, and just have such a blast, and he's such a great engineer, and I just knew it would be great fun figuring out together what this rig would look like. One of the things that, like, early on I thought would be really cool, though I wasn't sure if it was possible, would be, as opposed to like bringing sound devices or some type of field recording equipment, which I don't have a whole lot of experience with, I thought it would be so awesome if there were a way to bring the tools, basically, like a Pro Tools setup into the wilderness. If there's any way for that to work. And it was exciting to figure that out. Of course, to your point, Jesse, about the testing we did, I think Philip and I thought, and I'm sure Christopher and Brandon have the same experience. It's like we have one shot at getting this right. If everybody drives all this way and flies all this way, and we get out there on day one and this thing doesn't run right.
I have some images here of what that looked like, and again, our voice will cut out, but here they are. So yeah, I mean, I personally have a question. Was there ever a moment of, oh God, is this gonna work? Or was it always smooth?
Well, we knew, if I could just quickly answer and then you guys jump in, like Philip and I knew that it worked, and it was super cool seeing it work. But then there was this other stress of like packing the car, and we cannot forget a single adapter, So I remember having a little jitters the night before, the first night we got there, and like, man, tomorrow is a real moment of truth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what you guys created is an absolute masterpiece, so I can't clap. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Damien.
I should also mention, just to add to how empathetic and compassionate Jesse and Ike are, from the very beginning when they approached me about this album, they said that they wanted to donate all of the proceeds to the Natural Resources Defense Council, the NRDC, which is one of the best nonprofits in the country, along with the Sierra. And it's just, all of the profits from this are going to go straight to the NRDC. They very much could use that money right now with everything that's happening. So I'll let you guys volunteer any anecdotes or anything now, and then we're going to take some questions from the audience.
Wonderful. Just quickly, we did get a quick introduction to Philip Broussard, who's so amazing and was with us through so many of these adventures. And there was so much to overcome physically and mentally, emotionally. The whole trip, every day was really packed. We had a very strange diet, like as a result of being in these places. These guys basically subsisted on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They haven't quite recovered from that. But it was amazing. And actually, through Christopher, we were able to meet our friend Brandon, who's an incredible photographer and videographer. And it just so happens he's actually lives very close to where Jesse and I live. Oh, wow. But he is so incredible at what he does. I mean, every person on this screen of our guests here are just so gifted. It just took the project to a completely different level in what they could offer. But I think one thing that really struck me about at the end, like when we all saw each other tonight, at least for me, I was so fired up to see everyone, because we had, even in the midst of working really hard, 12 and 13 hours every single day for 2 weeks, there was this like familial like kindness and like generosity of everyone's like, wow, this is going to be insanely difficult to do, but yeah, I'll do it, no problem. It was like unreal, like no attitude the entire time of just like, how can I help? How can I take it to the next level? It never stopped for anyone. It was pretty incredible to see that.
So Brandon, what was it like for you, from being approached to do the project to actually going out there and doing it?
Well, it was definitely different than anything that I've ever worked on before. I mean, typically with a music video, you do everything. You basically don't record any sound during the music video because, you don't need to. You already have the track figured out. And so that was definitely, I know Chris, Jesse, everybody, it was definitely sort of we had to come to a happy medium as far as, what was good for the cameras and what was good for the microphones. Yeah, I mean, just being out in the wilderness and hiking into location and everything every day, it was a real cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, the end result is beautiful. All right, so
also,
we have
Drone Master.
Oh yeah, Drone Master.
Drone Master, absolutely.
Yeah.
We didn't actually see that in the two main videos, but in the trailer you see it a little bit. We got this incredible drone footage that really helps you be in those spaces where we were and see that there's literally nothing for miles around.
Yeah.
And Brandon was able to capture that, so it's added so much to the project.
And there's just one other short thing I wanted to add that this incredible crew endured the entire time we were out there is not only were we, putting in long days, working hard, trying to figure out the impossible, but it was also between 95 and 100 degrees every single day. And we were out for most of the day trying to keep ourselves as hydrated as possible, working through those conditions. So we had some, as you saw some earlier on some of the images that were up on screen, we had some pretty interesting attire trying to keep ourselves cool from the sun.
Well, the next album will be in Antarctica or something. So
yes.
Biophilia Records will make
Totally
that
down.
happen. So we have a question, and basically it's what was in the back of your mind when you composed Prayer?
Yeah, that was a little melody that I wrote, and I actually I went out into like a woods area, a conservation area. I remember when that came to me, and wrote that in the woods, and I just closed my eyes and was just thinking about the state of the world and listening to animals. I actually had just seen a fox had ran by me, and hearing the birds, and just trying to channel that moment and that energy. And I just started playing the guitar, and this really simple melody came. And I thought it would be a good vehicle essentially for Ike and I to, maybe put some prayerful energy out there.
Yeah, and I would imagine that actually being out there in the wilderness impacted the performance as well.
Oh, definitely. And you think of, the environment becomes the third band member. You don't have to play as many notes. You could just play a chord, and when in a studio, you might want to play another chord quickly. Out in the beautiful field, you hear the wind blowing and the birds chirping, the stream rushing by, and you can just say, okay, that's the music right now, Yeah. And so it makes the performance, I think, different. You have your environment is another band member, which is really great.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful album. That actually reminds me, there was one time I was performing outside. The one time I did it, it was at night, and there were all these animals doing all these songs and stuff, and I was really excited that I was going to play with them and make something happen. And the second I played a note, they all stopped. So, yeah. Well, guys, this has been very exciting for me. I can sleep tonight, and I can start practicing the piano again tomorrow because it's been a while. I absolutely love what you guys have done. I am so proud to be able to have a small role in sharing this with the world. For everyone out there who's listening, I hope you get to experience this album. It's truly special. And if you guys, let me check if there's any other questions. What was it like balancing general gear choices with camping equipment?
Well, actually, we did not camp for this. So that was one question that we had early on. We considered doing that. But with the temperature swings and with the instruments, there were a lot of considerations we had to make. The desert can swing from, 45 degrees to 100 degrees easily in a day, every single day. And so we actually had trouble with our instruments as it was, even having a place where we could go back to. But we ended up having kind of a home base in Escalante, and that was really helpful to us. But yeah, gear choices, we did basically have to make a lot of those decisions leading up to it. But even as we would find different locations, we sometimes made decisions about, are we going to bring the drone? Are we going to bring both instruments? Are we going to, all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of thinking and a lot of strategy that went into all that. These guys were incredible. A lot of schlepping of gear too. So every day kept us busy.
Well, I was going to add weight and car space were both big issues.
Yeah.
And just to add to it too is you know, manpower as well. I mean, you're looking at the entire crew right here. There were only 6 of us that were moving all this gear around, and you know, I work on kind of larger studio music videos where there's a ridiculous amount of lighting and green screens and camera tracks, and we really had to cut everything down on the camera department end to be able to, you know, number one, carry everything out there, which was still pretty difficult for all of us. And we all helped each other out, carry the musical instruments and the audio equipment and the camera. We all just worked with each other. But you know, to add to it, we were also working with you know, natural lighting. So you know, we didn't have any of the added diffusers or lighting or anything like that to carry. So we really had to like slim things down, but even slimming gear down, we still ended up having a lot, you know, between the tripods, the multiple cameras, the sliders, and then there was the full audio setup, which, you know, the battery alone weighed like 30 or 40 pounds, which added to everything. So it was, you know, it was quite a bit, but just kind of working on all those logistics and figuring out some of the areas that we had to get to. And like I said earlier, we slimmed some stuff down, even smaller per location. You know, it all ended up working out in the end. And, you know, I hope I get to do something like this again.
Antarctica next year.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's been an honor and a pleasure for me. I wish we could keep going, but sorry, Philip, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to tack on to that if we have the time. It was also important on the gear choices to make sure that we could get as much done with we could sonically as we possibly could and maximize that, but also not have, when we left, we wanted to make sure that there was no footprint from us. When we literally packed up and left, you know, we're on, you know, hallowed ground, for lack of a better term. We didn't want anyone to know that we had even been there. We didn't want to disturb the natural environment in which we were in. We took that very much into careful consideration. So that was also part of the essential, if not, you know, trimmed down package of camera equipment and audio equipment as well. So we took that very much into, you know, consideration.
Practicing the leave no trace.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys again. The world is a better place because of your work in this. And I mean, I'm sure I might be exaggerating it, but it really feels like that for me. I feel like this is going to touch lives on many different levels. So thank you so much. We're now going to leave it we'll play the trailer again. And everybody watching, thank you once again. Till next time, which will be Sunday. And you can keep in touch with us through all of our social media, Instagram and all that stuff. And we'll let you know all of the upcoming concerts. Each of them are $5 individually, or if you want to get the all access pass for $14, that's $20. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.